Hello, I'm back for another video. My name is Josh Kassick, and today is my Fruit Basket 2019 version review. Now, technically, we classify it as a 2019 version because that's when it's first released, but the first season came out in 2019, the second season came out in 2020, and the third season came out this year of 2021. And it's a much longer series than the original series. The original series had 26 episodes. This series has 63 episodes. And so, really just the first season of this 2019 version is the remake of the original, while the two other seasons are just new content. So that's kind of the thing. So way I'm doing this video is that if you want to see more about the first season, you have to watch the original video, because I'm not going to go over in this video again. I mean, it's practically the same with differences, but I'll go over the differences. All right. So the difference are, well, first of all, they cut out stuff from here and there from the original. They changed up some scenes or in the settings, but the dialogue stays exactly the same. Also, in the original series, you have this Yuki fan club, but at first you only see 3 of the members. But at the kind of near the end of the series, they introduce Motoko, the senior/president of this fan club. But in the remake, she's actually all the way revealed in the beginning. And the one scene where you only see 3 girls in the original series, she's there with those 3 girls, so all 4 of them. So definitely changed. And they also changed her hair from kind of a brown to a blue in this remake. I think that might have to be closer to the manga. I didn't really look more into that. I did look up into more of Shigure's and Ariza's hair change, and those hair colors actually became lighter because it's actually closer to how it looks in the manga. So that's kind of how they changed, and they even changed up clothing and stuff like that as well. Definitely in other changes. And they added stuff. Well, for instance, to order to add more stuff, because they cut out some stuff, probably combined some other episodes, they moved some episodes to the second season, although based on what I could see, only one episode was really moved, and it was the episode where Yuki and Tohru visit his brother's shop, and that's actually in the second season, not the first season. Instead, what we have here is actually 2 episodes of Ariza's backstory, meaning Tohru and her mother and everything, and then Saki's backstory, but that's only 1 episode. So they kind of added that in, and then there's only 25 episodes instead of 26. Other things they cut out, or definitely I think way better, is that when Kyo's adopted father takes off the bracelet to reveal his true form, and he runs away. Tohru runs after him right away. She doesn't talk to Akito or go to the graveyard or where her mother is and her friend's shop. She goes straight to him, and Yuki doesn't go there either to Kyo. And I really love this better because it really shows her accepting him on her own volitions and not people telling her to go do what you need to do. You know what I mean? I just feel like that's the main point, is for Tohru to accept him. And that's pretty much throughout the series, Tohru trying to accept him, and that's their goals. Pretty much everyone is to accept Kyo, and I think that is just better. But that's just my opinion. Also, another difference is they gave Momoji a kind of an accent, which at times was hard to understand, and then Kito was given a female voice actress because at the end of the second season it's revealed that he is actually a she. And I'm going to assume that the manga wasn't finished at the point of the original series to reveal that Akito was female, and that's why it was a he in the original series and not female. There's a reason to why Kito's pretending, or I wouldn't say pretending per se, just how he was or how she was raised. But I'll get to that point later. So that's pretty much everything. The second season is more about first starting with the summer and then going into the second year, where now Momoji and Haru joined the school year, I think, in the original series, but I don't think it was actually until the second season. I can't remember exactly for sure. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out how they changed some stuff. So this season introduces two more Sohmas of the curse. Kurno, who was actually the who had possessed by the rooster, but his curse actually broke 10 years ago, and Kito, being obsessed with this bond, tried to make a new bond with him by making him stay with her all the time, and they even slept together, which is kind of hurts Shigure, because Shigure is actually in love with her, and she was actually kind of in love with him, but because she was more obsessed with this bond, that's kind of what happened. And so he decides to sleep with her mother. Now, her mother was abusive. See, she actually manipulated her father before she was born to kind of be with her, and all she wanted was his love. But then she was pregnant with Akito, and it was revealed that she was going to be a she, and she did not want her husband's love going to her, and she thought that raising Akito as a boy would change that. Now, her husband was actually sick and actually died a few years later after Akito was born and stuff like that. But it's really sad that she was abused and treated like a boy and all that. And so she hates her mother, and so that's why Shigure lives on the outskirts of the Sohma land, because of him sleeping with her mother, or her sleeping with her mother. So it's very interesting there. But Colonel actually leaves and meets Arisa, and they actually do end up together at the end, or at least it's implied. But I did read up more. They do move in together. So, but they don't have. It doesn't say they got married or have children. So, in what I've read, but that's that's besides the point. Now, other than that, we get to also see Yuki's backstory. See her parents, his parents only cared about money, and so Akito paid them off to get Yuki, because being the rat closer to God, or what Zodiac God, which he is, or whatever, and stuff. And so all they cared about was money, and then that leads to her abusing or beating up on Yuki, and that's why he ran away and stuff like that. But after parent-teacher conferences, they actually get a better relationship. And then you have Rin, whose real name is Shizu Sohma. She is the spirit of the horse, and she's the same age as Haru, and they were actually in love. See, when she was younger, her parents seemed to be happy and all that, but it was all an act, and she felt like something was off and tried to ask, and that's when they broke, and to the point where they even abandoned her. But Haru helped her, and like I said, they get together. They even slept together. But then Akito, being a problem, really abuses her to the point where she even throws Rin off out the window of a 2-story building. So that's why she's always in the hospital. Even when she leaves, her body's always in a weak condition. And she even tries to she breaks up with Haru in order for her to find a way not hurt him anymore, and try to figure out a way to break the curse. But they do end up together. So, and I think they have children, based on what I've read. But that's not in the series. But I do want to mention that. Then what else? So that's pretty much all the Sohma. So now Yuki is opened up more. He's now the president of student council. He has a vice president. I forgot his name, but he's played by the voice actor for Senku. But when the voice actor was younger, he actually voiced Alphonse Elric, as well as voiced Hero in the original series of Fruit Basket. So that's pretty interesting. It's also kind of sad that he doesn't have that voice because it's so iconic, although it's technically kind of annoying. But But yeah, it's such a drastic change. The really squeaky high voice to that deep senku voice or stuff. It's really interesting. And then the treasury is Maki, who she's actually the half sister to the vice president, and she's actually, what happened is that their father had a wife and a mistress, and he's the vice president, actually the son of the mistress, and he was actually born first, and she was the the daughter of his actual wife. But they were always kind of competing to see who would be the inheritance of the clan, the money, the family, all that type of stuff. But then the wife had a son, and because they decided to give that to him instead of her, which is kind of sad. And at one point they thought that she was going to kill their son because of it, and so she was actually kicked out and living on her own, which is even sad. But Yuki actually helped her as Tohru helped him, and they actually do end up together at the end, which is pretty cool. Now talking about the end, well, basically Momoji in the third season had this random growth spurt really thing, but he's actually the first one to randomly break. The curse just breaks. Then Hiro, his curse breaks because of his love for his new baby sister. And so this really gets Kito going crazy, and her mother even tries to stab her, but that didn't turn out, and she actually got the knife. And because Kurno was trying to she stop her and stuff, he actually gets stabbed. And then at the Yuki house, there was an event going on. I can't remember exactly what was going on, but Tohru tries to confess Kyo her love, but Kyo can't accept her because he can't accept anyone. He can't get a love from anyone. That's what he's feeling right now. And he even reveals that he could have saved her mother years ago. See, what happened is that when he was a kid, he actually met Toru's mother, and they get to know each other and stuff like that. But one day, Tohru goes missing, and she asks Kyo to help her, but it turns out Yuki is actually the one that helps Tohru, which actually gets Kyo mad and tries to run away and never visits them again until. And the hat years ago, before this happened, Kyo had a hat which actually transferred to the rat boy, or to Yuki, and Yuki actually, after saving Tohru, gave that hat to Tohru, and Tohru still has that hat to this day. So that's kind of really interesting dynamic. But back to the point. See, one day while her mother was going to work, Kyo happens to actually see her. They were actually waiting to cross a crosswalk, and he actually was there. But then a crazy car was coming down the road, topsy-turvy or whatever, and she wasn't really noticing it while the others did. And Kyo could have saved her, but he didn't, because he was actually worried about the curse. If he hugged her to save her, he would transform, and so she ends up dying. And because after revealing that, he runs away, and then Kito shows up to attack, and then Yuki follows her, and Kito shows up to attack her, and they kind of chase to this cliff, but Tohru finally gets to her, and they were about to become friends until she fell off the cliff and hit her head really hard. And so she runs to Shigure to tell her what happened. Yuki and Kyo go to find her, and she's really in bad condition, and they can't really remove her. And Kyo finally confesses his love to her and even kisses her. She's unconscious. But it actually turns out pretty good, because they actually were at the hospital, and Colonel's okay. He's not dying or anything like that. And she finally gets to Kyo. She's breaking her abusive. She's becoming more open and not going crazy and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And so while they're in the hospital, everyone's kind of going about their day and stuff. But then Tohru is finally released from the hospital. Sorry about that. I was cut off because my camera died, which is really weird because I was charging it. But back to where were we? So yeah. So Tohru, finally released from the hospital, and Kyo shows up to get her. Now her two friends are there, but because for some reason she felt what happened after the fight and stuff, she decides to run, but Kyo actually finds her, and he kisses her to finally show that that they do really love each other, and then he asks if he can hold her and stuff. Really sweet moment here, even if he still had the curse. But right when they hugged, Akito finally releases and everyone's curse is broken, and so they were able to hug without him transforming, and he takes off the bracelet and breaks it and stuff. And so finally the Sohmas are free, and then Yuki gets a phone call from Maki, and so he goes and finds her, and he's actually the last one for the curse to break, because the whole thing with the Zodiac and the rat pre-moment, and then he embraces her and they kiss and stuff, which is really sweet. And the final point of next part is kind of most of the family shows up at kind of one final banquet, in which it reveals that Kito's actually female to all of them, and with the help of Shigure helping her to finally be who she truly is. And they actually do end up together. I also have children because I read it up in Fruit Basket, so that's kind of another cool thing. Now I told you in the last video, Tohru ends up with someone. Well, see, their teacher, teacher for Yuki, Tohru, and all of them, she was actually, I don't know her name, but she was actually friends with Kana, and so she knew Tohru for a long time. So, and they with the help of Shigure, they actually start talking to each other again after what happened to Kana, and they even they end up together. I think they also have children as well. That's pretty cool. And Name embraces his assistant, and they also do end up together. And I think they also have children as well. So pretty much everyone ends up. Now Kiza and Hiro are too young, but I do think they will also end up with each other. Now, not in the show. Momoji does end up with someone, but that's not any of the characters. Saki does end up with someone, but more of a foreign man, and not in the series. And then Narisa, now it reveals that Kurno moved away, and that Risa is actually going to move in with him, so they do end up together, as I did mention. Pretty much everyone ends up with someone, and then after they graduate, Kyo is going to move to train in a dojo before coming back to take over his stepfather's, or his adopted father's dojo, and Yuki, not Yuki, Tohru goes with him and stuff. And also I forgot to mention Kyo's mother committed suicide, and his father has nothing to do with him, treats him like a monster. I did forget to mention that, but I wanted to quickly mention that. And the final scene is actually a married Kyo and Tohru with their young daughter. Although I don't really like how this scene implies that they only had a daughter, where in Fruit Basket Another, which is a sequel manga to the original series, they actually had 3 children. Their daughter is the third, and they had their first child, a son, is the only one who's actually named in the manga, because he's one of the main characters. So technically they could make Fruit Basket Another a anime, so they could kind of correct this ending, but as right now, it kind of makes fans who haven't read the books think they only had a daughter, which I'm not really too happy about. But I understand the imagery, because it kind of represents Tohru and her parents. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much the ending. So I know this is a long video, but there's a lot to go over, alright? But I enjoyed the characters. I love the characters. I mean, every character is really interesting in its own way, and you really get attached to them. I love how all the couples end up with someone, except for Kagura doesn't end up with anyone. I mean, even Motaku, who was in love with Yuki, actually ends up with someone. I mean, seriously, what? It's like, okay, but I understand her love with Kyo, and obviously Kyo ends up with Tohru. Now, even Ritsu, actually, I did mention last video, Ritsu actually ends up with Shigure's editor, she kind of has the same personality as Ritsu, as I mentioned, and this allows him to start being more open, start cutting his hair and wearing guys' clothing, stuff like that. So that's pretty cool as well. Now Shigure actually quit being a novelist, so this allows her to finally be kind of free from his antics and stuff. But that's kind of another thing I did want to quickly mention. But yeah, like I said, I enjoy the characters, I enjoy the writing. I definitely love this remake more than the original, just because there's more details and it actually feels like it actually finished and everything like that, and all the characters and stuff. The animation is a lot better, but they show the eyes and the eyebrows over the hair, which really annoys me, which was not in the original. Although the animation for the original, although it is old, it's like perfect for that type of story. But other than that, that's kind of all my thoughts. I definitely recommend it. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you're new, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified for the next upload. My YouTube channel, website link, my Twitter, my Snapchat, and Instagram are all in the description as always. And thank you. Goodbye.